Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sullivan if you're new. In today's video, I'm going to be taking you through a week of workouts. So I'm going to be showing you literally every single thing that I do in the gym from Monday to the weekend. I'm going to be walking you through my workouts step by step. I wanted to make this super real because I know it can feel overwhelming when you're trying to figure out how to program workouts and what to train every day. I honestly don't change the split that much because this is what I have found works for me and what gives me the best results in the gym. Hopefully this gives you some new workout ideas or it just motivates you to go into the gym with a plan. So starting off with day number 1, I'm ready to go to the gym right now and I'm going to be training glutes and hamstrings. I like to program this day first because glutes and hamstrings are actually my priority muscle group, so I like to give it my full intensity starting off on a Monday. So let's go to the gym. Alright guys, so I just got to the gym and I'm starting off with a quick dynamic warm-up. I always warm up before leg days, especially because it's really important to have your hips be mobile and ready to lift heavy weights because we don't want to get injured. So I like to just do a couple hip opening stretches, so I'll do 90-90s. I also like to do some squat variations where I just press my knees apart with my elbows and focus on opening up the hips and just twist back and forth. The first exercise that I'm going to start out with is a barbell hip thrust. I like to start with these first because they require the most energy from me and they're also a very good hypertrophy movement for the glutes. I have just set up with this. That's actually for Bulgarians, I think, but it works for the hip thrust too. And I want to have this a little bit lower than my shoulder blades. That puts me in the best tabletop position to really get a good squeeze on my glutes. I typically prefer to do these on the Smith machine or on a machine because it's just easier setup. But today we're stuck with the barbell. I'm just going to start out with a set of 8 to 10 reps with no weight to warm up my glutes. I've just broken into an insane sweat trying to set up for this exercise, but we finally did it. For this exercise, I'm going to step my feet out so that when I come up into a tabletop, my legs are going to be at a 90-degree angle. Pressing through your heels at the top of this movement, and then we're going to think about contracting the glutes all the way down into a hinge here, and then we're pressing back up through the glutes to come to a big squeeze at the top. The point of this exercise is to really get a good contraction and squeeze at the top, so if you are not getting that, then think about dropping the weight a bit. So I'm going to go for another set. One more. Next up, we're going to do some barbell RDLs. These are going to work the glutes, but they're also going to work the hamstrings. I'm going to be using straps for these when I go up in weight because my grip strength isn't as strong as my legs are. So I'm just going to start out with the bar again. When you do this exercise, you want to focus on rolling your shoulders down and back. We're going to think about pressing down into the bar. The bar is going to stay right on your legs. Press the hips back towards the wall behind us like you're trying to close a door with your bum. Stop right when you feel like your back can't go any further while staying straight. So for me, that's right below my knees. Then I'm going to contract my glutes and squeeze to come up to a soft knee at the top. I will show you what that looks like and you'll get a better idea. I'm going to put some 25s on. I think I'm going through a phase where I'm just really focusing on form on these. These are always so challenging for me. I'm not really sure why. I think it's just really keeping proper form. You don't want your back to be bending around at all. You want to make sure that you're really staying super stable and tight throughout the whole movement. We are now going to do some deficit reverse lunges. This is going to be a unilateral exercise, so it's going to help even out muscle imbalances between each leg. I have a plate beneath my foot right here. I want to make sure that my chest is super open, my shoulders are rolled down and back, and that I'm pressing into this front heel because that's what's really going to engage your glutes throughout the movement. So I'm holding the dumbbell in the opposite hand, stepping back, pretending like my feet are on train tracks. So you're not going to be stepping directly behind this front foot. You're going to come down into a lunge, staying hinged over, and then we're going to come up and together touch here. Let's get started. this burns. When you're doing unilateral movements, you want to make sure that you're getting a little rest between sides because you've just done a set. You can't just jump into the other side without feeling a little depleted, so get a breather and feel like you can give your all to the next set again. Okay, so as you can see, I did a little drop set there just because I was feeling like the weight again was like too much. I'm feeling kind of run down today and like I can't give my full on weight, which is totally fine, but you just have to listen to that and you have to back off a little bit if your body is asking for you to. If you're feeling run down, back off the weight, do drop sets like I just did. I'm never doing my hair like this again. It's so greasy and it's like in the way this whole workout. Right now, I'm going to do some cable kickbacks. So I'm gonna make the weight pretty light. I like to do a full range of motion cable kickback on my first glutes and hamstrings day. So we're going to be keeping the arms basically straight with a neutral elbow. We're going to step back, make sure you're really rooted here. So I'm going to turn out my kicking foot. I'm going to sit into my bottom hip all the way up and back and squeezing this kicking glute. 11. Let's do 3 more. Really focus on that squeeze. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right, so I am actually feeling my low back in these a little bit. I just think it's because, like I said, I didn't sleep too well, so I'm not totally able to engage the muscles that I would like to. For our final accessory movement, we are going to do a seated hamstring curl. I like to do seated hamstring curls because I find that they give me a better contraction. I'm making sure that this back of the seat is all the way up because I'm very short, so I want to make sure that the machine is super tight and fit to me. I'm starting off with a fairly light to moderate weight, and I'm just going to focus on squeezing all the way in, holding at the top for a second, and then we're going slow back up to the top. I'm just doing some static stretching to finish off my workout. Static stretching is where you hold the stretch for a little bit longer. I thought I would explain to you why I place the exercises in my session in the positions that I do and basically how you should structure your leg day session. So I always start out with compound movements. A compound movement is going to be something like a squat, an RDL, a hip thrust. It's going to be a movement that involves more than one muscle group. So for example, the hip thrusts are not just hitting your glutes, they're also hitting your hamstrings. It's going to require more strength and more power to complete this movement, which is why I always place these in the beginning of my workout because these are my most important exercises. I really want to have the energy and the strength to give them my all. It's important to have a unilateral movement come after the compound lift. That's because this is going to be a little bit more focused on stabilization, and you want to include these just to balance out the sides of the body because I don't know about you, but my right side is way stronger than my left side. Since it's unilateral, it's going to work to improve my balance, to improve my core strength, and to even out muscle imbalances. Have I done this stretch before? I don't remember. After that, I like to include my isolation moves. So these are going to be more targeted on specific smaller muscle groups. For example, I did a hamstring curl. I like to place these last because they do not take as much energy and as much stamina to complete, and they also just burn out those little specific muscle groups. For my accessory movements, I won't go so close to failure, and I will focus more on engagement and really feeling that muscle. It helps a lot with mind muscle connection. That wraps up today's workout. I will see you tomorrow for upper body push focus day. Hey guys, and welcome to day 2 of my week of workouts. Today is going to be an upper body focused push day. I just like to start out on the treadmill for a little bit of a walk, just for 10 to 20 minutes on the treadmill. I find that it really gets a good amount of my steps in for the day, around 2.7 speed and 4 to 5 incline. So I like to start my shoulder days with a little dynamic stretching warm-up. I just take a band and stretch back and forth, and then I'll do some big circles up and overhead. I just want to make sure that my rotator cuffs are feeling warm and that my shoulders are nice and mobile. To be honest, I keep my upper body warm-ups pretty simple because all I really need is like a little warm-up. So now we're going to get started with the workout. For our first exercise, we're going to start with a shoulder press with dumbbells. You want the bench to be at a slight incline, so it's it's not going to be straight up, but it's also not going to be at an incline that would hit chest. Pinch the shoulder blades down and back and kick up the dumbbells one by one. Freeze at the shoulders. I want your elbows in front of your body, pressed up and together. I'm actually going to do 20 pounds for one lighter set of 12 to 15 reps, really just focusing on form and focusing on feeling it in my shoulders. 6. This is hard. 7. All right, we are going to move on to some lateral raises. For these especially, we do not want to be going any heavier than what you can control. You want to keep your shoulders pinned together down and back, and think about lifting a pitcher and pouring it out at the top. And we also don't want to be coming straight out to the sides. We want to be staying a little bit in front of your body when you come up here. When we do seated lateral raises, we want to be sitting on the edge of the seat and keep your chest up, keep your upper body really open. And we're going to go from the sides of the legs up and to the side. And when you go to the top of the movement, you want to make sure that you can feel your shoulder engaging. Right here is going to be engaged. 2. 8, and then I'm going to stand up for the rest of the reps. We're going to do some rear delt flies. Rear delts are actually a big part of what makes the shoulder look well-rounded. So I'm going to take this and move them to the closest setting. So I actually put the seat on the lowest setting, and then I lean against the bench with my upper chest on the bench. Then I'm going to press my arms forward and away from me and keep my pinkies lifted, just like when we did lateral raises. Squeeze the pinkies together in the back. And slow back together, keep tension, don't slam it, squeeze. You should feel that right in this muscle right here. We are going to do some face pulls, and I actually like doing face pulls on the bench instead of with the upright cable, because this kind of allows me to get put in position correctly and to actually use my rear delts rather than using my traps, which I feel a lot when I'm on the up and down cable. So I have it on a fairly light weight, and this is going to hit your rear delt again. So I'm grabbing the cable from the outsides, and I'm thinking about keeping my chest up and my shoulder blades down and back pinned together. Pull back and up to about eyebrow level. Kind of the trick for shoulders is always keeping the elbows like lifted like this. And I also like using the footrest here because I can kind of like hinge forward and like plant my feet into the platforms, and that kind of allows me to use my upper body for the pull rather than like lean back like I would on the up and down cable. Typically I would do front raises earlier in my workout than I am right now, but I'm just doing this now towards the end because I want to get it in. I'm gonna step over the cable. I'm using a rope again. I'm gonna step forward slightly, and I'm gonna hinge over, pull my hips back. I have my thumbs on top of the rope, so I'm gonna think about pressing my thumbs up and towards the ceiling. So far, we've hit the front with this and with the overhead press. We've hit the side with the lateral raises, and we've hit rear with face pulls and with rear delt flies. So we have like an overall solid shoulder session. We are going to finish off the upper body portion of the workout with some tricep extensions. I want it to be heavy, but not too heavy to the point that I can't feel the movement in my triceps. I'm gonna think about setting my shoulders down and back, press with the pinkies down and out with a little external rotation. We're gonna finish off today's workout with a little bit of abs. On my first upper body day, I like to do a hanging leg raise variation. Okay. We're gonna do 12. This is so challenging. So as you can see, I don't actually train chest right now. Occasionally I will do a push day with like a chest exercise involved, like dumbbell incline or a low to high fly, because I want to hit the upper chest sometimes, but chest is not my priority. My focus right now is not to build my chest. My focus is to have defined shoulders, have defined glutes, hamstrings, quads, all of that. I also just don't really enjoy training it because I feel like it doesn't really directly benefit me right now. So I'm going to go home and eat some big protein breakfast, and I will see you tomorrow for day number 3. Day number 3 is my quads day, and my mic totally malfunctioned, so this will just be a voiceover. On quad days, I like to start with a squat variation. If I have access to a pendulum or a hack squat, I'll go for those, but today I'm doing a barbell squat. I always warm up with just the bar for about 12 reps, focusing on full range of motion. For extra quad emphasis, I'm doing heel elevated squats by placing 2 5-pound plates under my heels. My stance is parallel or a little bit closer, and I drive my whole foot into the ground without letting my heels lift. If they do, that's a sign of limited ankle mobility, so you may need to adjust depth. Form cues. Pull the bar into your traps, elbows tucked, chin slightly down. Brace at the top, inhale, sit down and back, and then exhale to come up. Don't lock out your knees or let your tailbone tuck under. If your low back hurts, drop the weight. I usually stick to a moderate weight here since I feel my quads more with slightly higher reps rather than going super heavy. Next up, I'll do some Bulgarian split squats or a single leg press. I like to find a block that's around knee height or even a little lower. I step out from the box about a stride and then put my back toes up on the box. The dumbbell will be in a goblet position, which will target quads even more. The more your working leg knee goes over your toes, the more this exercise will work your quads. Think about pressing that base knee out and never letting it cave, while also never letting your knees lock at the top of the movement. Today, I supersetted the Bulgarians with some sissy squats. For this movement, I like to think about keeping my entire upper body straight as a board down to my knees, engaging my abs and driving my knees forward over my toes to just above the ground. I use my core and press through the balls of my feet, pressing myself back up to standing, and these are insane for quads and they burn like crazy. If this movement is too advanced for you, try doing the lunge version where your feet are staggered, but you'll do basically the same movement and it will teach you where you should be feeling this exercise. This is also a good way to work up to the actual movement. I like to hit a little glutes on my quad days too, so next I did a high rep dumbbell glute bridge, focusing on squeezing and holding at the top of the movement and mind muscle connection. For the leg extension, you want your feet to be about parallel. Kick all the way up, squeeze, and slow back down. It's going to be way more challenging than if you rush through this. You want to be keeping your chest open even on this movement too. Think about putting your shoulder blades down, back, and together, and really opening your chest, because that's going to allow you to just focus the movement on your quads and not involve the rest of your body to use momentum. We're going to do some adductions. This is going to be for the inner thigh. Make this go as far apart as possible. You can also stand up and then open it all the way. Use your hands to press it together here. I like to go for 12 to 15 reps on this because this is just a very accessory movement. Like, it's nothing that you need to be going really heavy on because there's just no reason for it. One more, 12. That wraps up the 3rd day of my workout split. I will see you tomorrow for another upper body day. Hey guys, it is currently Thursday and I'm just about to head to the gym to train upper body with a back focus. Today I would typically take a rest day, or I would have taken one yesterday because I like to train 2 days on, 1 day off. But this week is my first week back in New York and I don't want to have to deal with the crowds that come on weekends. So I really just want to get my 5 workouts in during the week so I don't have to like compete for equipment on the weekend. For that reason, I'm going to be training 5 days on, 2 days off this week. But just know that typically today would be a rest day where I just get in my steps and then I start fresh. I'm going to head to the gym right now and we're gonna do some upper body. Okay guys, so I just got to the gym. Since today is a back focus day, we are starting with the lat pull down. I prefer to do this rather than pull-ups just because I can get higher reps in. I can get like 12 to 15 reps here. I'm first gonna think about arching and pulling my shoulder blades down and back. I'm retracting my scapula here. Then I'm going to pull my shoulder blades down and back, raise my chest up, and think about driving my elbows down and in front of my body. So we're coming down here, squeeze, and all the way back up. When you're really short like me, you're gonna have to climb up on the seat sometimes to grab the bar. This is a little bit too heavy. I'm gonna drop. Next up, we are going to do a single arm bent over dumbbell row. And I actually usually use a cable for this movement, but I just joined this gym and it has a really good like functional basement floor. So I'm trying to do a little bit more functional training down here because I really like it. As you can probably see, my back is like my dominant muscle group. So I actually have been cutting back on training back a lot. I usually only do like 2 to 3 back exercises per week. I want more defined shoulders rather than a huge back. Anyways, we're going to start with a moderately heavy dumbbell and I'm going to hinge over, press my hips back like I'm doing an RDL. From here, one hand goes on the platform. I'm going to step my opposite foot back. Let your shoulder fall forward while keeping it rolled back. So the chest is still going to be up, but you're going to be leaning over, stretching here, and then retracting your scapula and pulling your elbow up and back here. I'm also squeezing my core throughout this movement. Try not to swing. Try not to use so much momentum. Ooh. Yeah, it's a DJI. I know, I love them. We are just going to do a cable superset. So we're going to start with high to low single arm rows. I'm going to grab the handle here and I'm going to step back with the opposite foot into a kneeling position. I'm going to lean forward with my working arm, stretch right here in my lat, and then I'm going to squeeze back and row into my side here. For the other exercise that we're going to be supersetting, it's going to be what I call a rope push down. That is definitely not the technical term for this exercise, but this exercise we do not want to go very heavy on at all because you want to have really good form. Grab each side of the rope here and you're going to step back. Chest comes up as my arms press down to my legs. You're going to feel a squeeze in your lats. I'm going to show you how to do just a classic bicep curl. I am using a moderate weight of 12.5 pounds. Roll your shoulders down and back, squeeze your shoulder blades together just like with every exercise. You're going to face your palm to the ceiling, but you're not going to let your shoulder come way out of whack. You're not going to hyperextend. Like my back just cracked from doing that. So lean into that shoulder and we're just going to curl up, squeeze. You want the elbow to stay in the same position throughout the whole movement. So leaning into that shoulder, squeeze all the way up and back down. Also, I just want to say that swinging is going to do nothing for you on this exercise. I'm going to do a cable crunch here. You're going to be kneeling facing away from the cable. Grab the rope and pull it over my shoulders. You're going to sit your hips back slightly. And from here, the only thing that's going to happen is your core is going to contract. That's it for my upper body back day. Tomorrow, I'm going to do a light glutes and hamstrings accessory type day. So I will see you guys tomorrow for that. Hey guys, and welcome to my last and final day of my week of workouts. Today is going to be a glutes accessory day because I've already trained heavy for a quad day and for my first glutes and hamstrings day of the week. Today, I'm going to be working in higher rep ranges. So we're going to be doing 12 to 15 reps. Okay, so I'm going to take out a band. I just brought these bands with me. I'm just going to put it around the bottom of my thighs, top of my knees. And I'm going to treat this basically like a machine abduction. So I'm leaning forward. I'm going to lift my butt off the seat slightly and think about pushing my knees apart, keeping my feet in the same position. Slow back in. The goal is to feel your glutes as much as possible. That's literally the only goal of this. Once you're feeling your glutes, we're going to come down into a tabletop and we're just going to do 20 to 30 squeezing into a glute bridge, just trying to activate the glutes as much as possible. And you want to keep tension on the band too, so I'm pressing my knees apart at the same time as I'm coming up into a glute bridge. For our first real exercise, we are going to do Smith machine step-ups. I'm taking off my shoes because I really want to engage my glutes. Since the Smith bar doesn't move, you can kind of lean back into it. Think about sitting back into the hip that you're pushing up with and pressing into this bottom heel. This is going to be on my shoulders, and I'm hinging over, keeping my chest open, shoulders down and back. I'm not using any momentum to lift off. I'm coming on my toes on this bottom foot and pressing up through the heel all the way up, keeping my knee pressing outward. Soft knee always, and my glute is engaged up here at the top. Slowly come down to touch my toes, and then we're gonna press up again. I'm drinking this energy drink from Naked Energy, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. Kind of tastes like Tums. I am back in my basement corner, and we are going to do single leg RDLs. I like to include single leg RDLs on my second glutes and hamstrings day because I find that I'm able to engage my hamstrings a lot more. I like to have a platform that I can put my opposite hand on. So I'm just going to put my hand on this little shelf right here. I'm going to step the opposite foot back. I'm going to roll this shoulder down and back. Make sure I'm pinning this lat into my body. So I'm leaning back into this bottom heel and externally rotating my knee out this way. Using my back foot as support, I'm going to press my hips back and hinge over until you feel a stretch in your hamstring. Engage your glute almost to a hip thrust to press your hips forward and come back up into a standing position. We'll do some more fun exercises because I love like my real accessory movements on this day. RDLs and hip thrusts, so boring. Step-ups, boring. Kickbacks, on the other hand, are so fun. Okay guys, it is finally time for a fun exercise. So we are going to be doing cable kickbacks. I bring my own ankle straps because a lot of the time gyms don't have ankle straps that I would want to use. Today we're going to do smaller kickback reps, and we're going to focus more on like the upper glute. And you do not want to be going heavy with this because there's like literally no reason to. I see some of you guys like swinging it around, and no. You want to keep it very slow and controlled and only focus on the contractions. And I'm just going to be kicking back slightly, squeezing, and slow back. So it's a very small range of motion. I also see some people a little bit scared that they're feeling this in the base foot, but like you are engaging your base foot too, so obviously you're gonna feel it in the base foot a little bit, but the more you can keep your entire body still and stationary, the more you're gonna feel it in your kicking leg and not in your base foot. Going to finish down here with some back extensions. I'm at the lowest setting on this machine because I want it to hit just about at hip height, and I'm going to turn my feet out slightly because that helps me engage my glutes more. I'm going to be using a 25-pound plate for the first half of the set, and then I'm going to do a drop set, so I'm going to set the weight down and do another 8-ish reps. Upper body is completely neutral. The only thing that's going to happen is my glutes are going to squeeze, and I'm coming up, squeezing the glutes like I'm doing a hip thrust, and then coming back down here. Let's do a set. I find that if I come up too fast out of this movement, then it gives me a really bad head rush. So make sure to slowly come out of this and give yourself a second. I am finally ending off this workout with a little stretch. Let me just tell you that training through soreness and training through being exhausted is not going to give you the results that you want. I speak from experience because when I first started training, I used to train through the soreness. I used to push myself to go to the gym 6 days a week, even when I was like exhausted, and when I couldn't push myself with weight, I still would force myself to go to the gym that much. And let me just tell you that my results now are so much better, like insanely better, now that I actually rest. And now that I only train legs when I'm feeling fully recovered, it just makes sense, right? Like working with your body and letting yourself recover is when muscle is actually built. So doesn't it make sense that that would give you better results along with high quality eating? I think that with that, this wraps up my week of workouts. Over the weekend, I'm just gonna get 10K steps on both Saturday and Sunday. I'm not gonna train at all, and then I'm gonna start fresh on Monday. I really hope that this was helpful and that you learned something new and got some exercise inspiration, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.